I was in pre-med school. I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. And now life has presented to me that, oh my gosh, I want to become a professional runner, one of the fastest runners in the world. It might seem crazy, it might seem random, but when you dive headfirst into something, your tools and your talents develop in that moment, and you get to show yourself how strong you truly can be when your back's against the wall and you make a decision and you say, I'm all in on this decision. You'll be truly surprised of the things that you can produce in that moment.
Welcome to Engage Presents. I'm Engage co-founder and president Jake Olson. In this interview series, I ask Engage talent the most common questions we hear from event planners to help you get to know them and their stories in 15 minutes or less. Thanks for listening. Welcome to another episode of Engage Presents. I am Engage president Jake Olson. Alongside me today, Blake Leeper. Blake, you are an impressive guy, my friend. He's an eight-time, you heard me correct, eight-time Paralympic track and field medalist, a world record holder. Blake, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to share my story and my message and tell everybody what I'm all about.
Awesome, man. Well, first, before you were breaking records and doing your thing, you were in pre-med, and that's obviously quite the change there from pre-med to racing. So, kind of what influenced that decision to turn away and go towards down the road you went?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I started out pre-med and I always wanted to be an orthopedic surgeon because I knew how just like the medical field and orthopedics saved my life, those relationships that I had with doctors back in the day. So I really wanted to go through medical school, get my pre-med degree, go to medical school, become an orthopedic surgeon so I could walk into those rooms to the patients, especially the young patients, and say, hey, I'm about to get a leg amputation and I'm the one that's going to do it, but look at what I've been through. And the only reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted to be in a field where I knew I can immediately give back to other individuals. I wanted to have that feeling of knowing that I changed somebody's lives. Now, fast forward, I was in medical school. I get the running blades. I make a few phone calls. I look up. I'm one of the fastest Paralympians in the world within like a year or two. So I had to make a tough decision. I got an invitation to move to the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista in San Diego to live full time to train for the 2012 Paralympic Games. I was like 2 to 3 years in my pre-med program, applied physics too as well. So you can only imagine the conversation that I had to have with my mother and father, sitting them down and say, you know what, guys, I don't think I want to be a doctor anymore. I want to be a professional runner. And I'm missing both of my legs. You can only imagine how that conversation went, but it was a pretty awesome journey. And that's part of my story. My message is that when you have a dream, when you have a goal, when you have something that's put in your heart and it might not make sense in that moment, right? I was in pre-med school. I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. And now life has presented to me that, oh my gosh, I want to become a professional runner, one of the fastest runners in the world. It might seem crazy, it might seem random, but when you dive headfirst into something, your tools and your talents develop in that moment, and you get to show yourself how strong you truly can be when your back's against the wall and you make a decision and you say, I'm all in on this decision. You'll be truly surprised of the things that you can produce in that moment.
I love that, Blake. Absolutely love that. So you go on this journey to become, what you mentioned, the fastest runner. And what part of that journey taught you the most about resilience?
Yeah, the journey of I am enough. I've always been fast enough. I've always had the talents. It was just a self-belief in myself, knowing that, wow, I one day can be a world record holder. I one day can be a gold medalist. I one day can inspire and change so many lives and people. But with that being said, it's the hat and the person that you have to become to be the world record holder and the gold medalist. So I found myself, especially early in my career, almost doing self-sabotage, right? I would set myself up and I would, do things. I would hang out with people. I would show up late to practice. I would skip practice at times just so if I did lose or just so if I come up short, I would have that immediate excuse to say, well, that was the reason why I didn't try 100%. And the moment where I dedicated my life to this and gave 120%. And I would train 40, 50 hours a week. I would, listen to my sports psychologist and my nutritionist, going through that process and being all in on it. That's when I seen the biggest change in my career, and also the biggest change in my life. So just like that self-belief, knowing that I can be the best in the world, going through that process and knowing that, hey, I am capable enough. So just getting to that self-belief was a huge transition to the point of me breaking world records and becoming a gold medalist.
I love how you talk about that. You share a story about the time that your grandfather learns that you made the Paralympics. You mind sharing that just a little bit here?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember I made the Paralympic team, and I go to my number one fan, which is my grandfather, and I go to him like, Granddad, I made the team. I was like, will you come watch me race? He almost got offended. Like, what? Like, what? Are you crazy? I'm there. You tell me when, you tell me where, and I'm there, right? And so, but what he didn't know was the race was in London, England, at the Paralympic Games 2012. And at 74 years old, my grandfather has never flown a day in his life before. So he asked, well, where's the race? I said, they're in London. He said, okay, okay. How long's that drive? Uh, I was like, oh gosh, granddad. So he realizes that we have to fly. And I was like, granddad, we got to fly. And he's like, okay, I'm going to get a couple of days to think about this. So he thinks about it for a couple of days and he comes back. He said, okay, I thought about it. He's got one question. He's like, on that plane of yours. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, first of all, it's not my plane. It's somebody else's plane. But he's like, do they serve alcohol on the plane? I'm like, yes, they do. They do. So we gave him a couple drinks just to get him on the plane. And it was so special. We fly to London. He got to watch me compete. And when I win my medals, I win my silver, my bronze, I run to this certain part of the stadium to celebrate with my mother, father, and my family. And I get my medals. I win my silver. I win my bronze. And I'm running to my family. And I see my dad. And I see my mom. And we're jumping up and down. And I see my grandmother, but I can't find my granddad. Like, he's my number one fan. Like, where is he at? And I look over and I see him. And he's in the corner. And he's crying. Just tears just like coming down his eyes. But you have to understand, it wasn't tears of sadness. It was tears of joy, because it wasn't just like my last name in front of the 85,000, 11 million people watching me compete that night. It was his last name. And then it dawned on me, like, that man right there, he loved me on days that I couldn't even love myself. And he cared for me on days that I didn't even care for myself. And it really hit me like, oh my gosh, it's one of my whys. And I tell people and I challenge people when I'm giving a speech, or I'm talking to the audience. I ask them, what's your whys? Why are you doing this? Why are you showing up? Why are you fighting so hard? Why is this so important to you? And these are some of the things that are extremely important to know, because when you're having the good days, it's fine, it's okay. But what about on the difficult days? What about on the hard days? What about on the days that you're just trying to find the strength just to get out the bed, just to show up one more day, and you just get in here nose after nose after nose? I encourage you to use your whys. Like my grandfather, in that moment, he's one of my whys. I think about my daughter. I think about all the kids that's being discriminated against because of their disability. That if I can go out there and keep breaking world records and keep a smile on my face and show them what's possible, then maybe they can too. And so I encourage people to know your whys, to utilize your whys, and to lean into them, to use them in those difficult moments when you're trying to push through an adversity or a challenge that you may be facing today.
And for someone who kind of answers that why and wants to go achieve something, what strategies do you share to kind of help them reach that full potential? Because I mean, take it your situation, Blake. I mean, you mentioned kind of what faith it took for you to look at yourself and say, look, I was born without legs. I want to be the fastest person. Most people would never ever be able to put those two things together. And yet you had that inner belief and that passion in your heart, and you just sold out for it. And so if someone does kind of reach that why and want to reach that full potential like you have, what strategies can they use to do that?
Yeah, there's a several few things that I kind of attack and go in the forefront. I always, I tell people, me being born without legs is almost a blessing. It's almost a good thing, right? Because one thing, it taught me a valuable lesson. It taught me that life isn't fair. When first I realized that, and that lesson, knowing that life isn't fair, that means I have to go and attack with my motivation and my inspiration, that I'm always in the right headspace, that I'm always listening to the right things. Because listen, if I don't do these things, if I just wake up and say, "Oh man, I hope I'm inspired today," or if I just wake up and say, I hope today goes well, and I hope it all goes well," because of my disability and because I'm missing both my legs, it's not gonna go that way. I'm gonna wake up, my legs gonna be sore, or I might trip, I might fall, or I'm gonna have a difficult time, and then I'm just gonna spiral down this like rabbit hole of negativity. But I go in the forefront of this, and I'm like, as soon as I wake up, I make sure I write a gratitude list, and write all the things that I'm thankful for in this moment, right? Like I'm thankful that I can walk today. I'm thankful that I have prosthetic legs today. I'm thankful I have an opportunity today. So I focus my mind on all the things that I do have, instead of kind of focusing on all the things I don't have. Like that's, I miss my legs. Okay, whatever. What can I still bring to the table today? So that gratitude list is extremely important. Obviously knowing my whys is extremely important too as well. And a big one is that I'm a true believer that my adversity is my advantage in life, right? The fact that I was born less than, and I got to not only prove the doctors wrong, but I got to prove to myself how strong I truly can be, gives me my strength. My strength comes from my struggles. And so for knowing that, I've learned to turn my pain, turn my hard days, turn my hardship, turn my pain into my purpose, right? Going through those challenging moments. Look, we've all had hard days, right? We all have had difficult days, but we have 100% rate of making it through those difficult days. Even though the tears just come down, look, we got through them. And once we got through them, we became stronger from it. And we can carry that strength. Like the day is over, but the strength that we developed, we'll carry that through the rest of our lives. So knowing that my adversity is my advantage, knowing that I can turn my pain into my purpose, that gives me just like that motivation and the inspiration. So when I ask myself, like, what's my why? Okay, well, like what do I have to give to this world? Okay, I know I have to get to this world. Now the work needs to be done. So that's how I look at the goals that I have in my life outside the track. Like I want something that's so special that the journey itself is what really makes it. So that the work and the hard work that I have to put in. So knowing these things, why I go on the attack for this hard work to achieve my dreams, keeps me in the game one day, just one more day, one more time, to when I look up and I have this body of work that I'm proud of by just staying motivated and inspired day by day.
Powerful stuff, Blake. Very powerful stuff. We can just hear it right now. It's so palpable, just the passion and the conviction you have sharing this. What is your favorite part here, lastly? What is your favorite part about sharing your story and just seeing the impact it has on others?
Yeah, honestly, Patrick, my ultimate favorite part is the things that I speak on stage is the things that I use in my daily life. I speak my truth with my passion, with my stories, with my messaging. It's my truth that I speak on to the audience. Then at the end, the claps, and then we take a few pictures and I go off to the side. There's always maybe one or two or three people, four, five, six. Sometimes I've stayed in line for hours at a time, taking pictures and holding medals. But somebody comes up to me and shares their personal story or their message and say, you know what, I was having a really hard day or a really hard week, or I've been struggling in certain areas. They might not go into the specifics, but say I've been struggling. And hearing your story today just gives me a little more hope to keep pushing forward. Or hearing your story today lets me know that I'm not alone. I'm in this fight with other individuals. Or hearing your story today, I want to share this with my mother, my father, or my brother, or my cousin, and knowing that, right? Knowing that a life was changed in that moment, a perception, a perspective, it was changed is one of the greatest feelings in the world. It really is.
Blake Leeper, everybody. Blake, you are an impressive man. We appreciate you sharing your story and sharing your message. It does impact people's lives. And if you want to be one of those people, please visit Blake's profile, letsengage.com. You can check him out more there, book him. Blake, keep doing what you're doing, man, because you definitely are a light in this world and you are impacting lives.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Jake. Thank you.
Or stay tuned for more Engage Presents.